All right, we are live. How are you guys doing tonight? I know we probably won't get no responses due to the fact that I don't believe that we have enough subscribers, followers to be able to say something. So you can go ahead and uh, tell everybody what we're going to talk about tonight if you want.
Um, Tonight we're going to talk about Bloody Mary. We're going to try to start doing videos about local legends, urban myths, um, stuff like that.
Things heard around the world, not just
Yeah,
pertaining to the United States where we are located. So
exactly.
you can
Um,
let her out.
we're going to start doing, live videos routinely, at least once a week to be able to, connect with our audience and, start getting more views. Um,
Which is basically number one. One thing that I would like to note in this video that we are part of the Elizabethtown Paranormal Society. I know I don't have a hashtag for that on this stream, but if you would like to go over there and check us out here on YouTube, just type in TEPS, TEPS, pronunciation for the Elizabethtown Paranormal Society. We reside here in Kentucky, so if you want to check us out on that, we have, I believe, over 200 videos on there with investigations we've done, including Waverly Hills, the Randolph County Asylum in Indiana, a place here locally called Casey Cemetery, sorry, also known as the Gates of Hell. So those are one of the few investigations that we did. So with Bloody Mary, I don't know. I remember I'll be 44 in what, like 10 days, I believe, or no, sorry, 8 days, and I've known this since I was a kid. This was something that we did at home, that we did in schools, that we did almost anywhere. And it would freak us out because we were kids and we always heard the stories about Bloody Mary appearing in the mirror and attacking you, etc. So,
I can remember a specific time. I can't even remember how old I was. I was probably like 10, 11. Me and some of my friends, we went in a loft of a barn,
mm-hmm.
and there was an old mirror up there, and my friends were like, I dare you to get in the mirror and say Bloody Mary. I dare you. So, me being me, I was like, there ain't nothing to do with, that's just a crazy story. So I did it. Um, of course, we were in, like a shaded area with no lights. And I got in front of this mirror and I started saying, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. And of course, everybody, like I seen movement behind me
Yeah.
in the mirror.
Did you?
Yeah, but it was
You think it was one of you guys?
probably, but I was a kid. Come on now. I mean, I have seen things in my days. Believe that. I've seen, a spirit standing directly in front of me. Um, and that was um, a pretty wild experience, to say the least. I've had a lot of things happen to me. I know, you've said that you've never really seen a spirit, you know.
I'm waiting for the day.
Um,
But as far as right now, at almost 44 years of age, I've never seen an actual figure, spirit, apparition. I've never, I've never seen one. Would I like to see one? Oh yeah, because that would just go with all the stories that we already have, whether it was during the time we were growing up, on our investigations, etc. That would go hand in hand in what we do, outside of our regular jobs. You know, doing the paranormal investigations and stuff. I'd like to give a shout out to the guys at Ghost Hunters on A&E. They actually gave our team a shout out. Brian and Rochelle. Thank you guys. Hopefully you guys come across this video. Um, and also Shannon Sylvia, who's actually a personal friend of ours on Facebook.
Yes.
Via our YouTube channel and our videos. I'm not exactly sure how either one of them actually came into contact with us and actually gave us a shout out, but they definitely did do that. They acknowledged our team and what we do, so that was pretty awesome. And that actually helped us generate a wider audience and a lot more subscribers and watch hours. It's not where we want to be, of course, but you know, it's a lot of work, and we're willing to put in the work. But at the same time, bringing these stories to you guys weekly and just talking about a bunch of different things. It doesn't have to just pertain to, you know, myths and legends and paranormal experiences. It could be general life situations. But this is our top subject. This is what we love to do.
Right, and you know, anyone who comes across this video, if you would like to, you know, like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel, please feel free to do so. And also, if you have any questions, comments, any, you know, urban legends or myths or anything of the such that you would like us to cover, you know, feel free to drop some comments, you know, and we'll do research and we'll get on here and talk about it.
Yeah, definitely, because I mean, we got a whole book here that her brother actually put together, and there's quite a few in here that we've got listed in here. A lot of them we've heard of, and some that we haven't heard of. Clenard and Burgess Trout, 1868. Never really heard of that one.
Well, I think that one has to do with...
Which one is that one?
Hang on. It has to do with... hold on.
Bell Witch and Culture.
Yes.
The Bell Witch. Now, I've heard of that one. I think a lot of us probably have heard of that one, and I'm sure there's some people that haven't heard that one.
Yeah, that one has to do with the Bell Witch.
Yeah.
And he, you know, my brother, he has not
Infield Poltergeist, sorry.
Yeah, oh, you're fine.
But that's the book with all these wonderful stories that we'd like to add to.
Oh, I'm so sorry for yawning, guys. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning where we're at.
Yes, here in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, which is a great place to visit, live, etc.
Yes, I'm...
She works a lot. She works 6 days a week. Right now, I applied for another job. I was able to pass the exam for a government job, which would be awesome. That would definitely help us out and, you know, take some weight off of, you know, both of us. You know, we struggle a little bit sometimes financially, but we always find a way to pull through and to make ends meet. You know, we've got an 8-month-old grandson that lives with us.
Almost 10.
Months? Almost 10 months?
Yeah.
Whew, time is flying by. He's almost a year old.
He'll be 10 months in 3 days.
Wow. Yeah, so it's definitely, we do a lot of different stuff. So let's get on the Bloody Mary situation. So
yeah, what I was gonna do, I'm just gonna kind of read a little bit about Bloody Mary. So
I know they had said something about, you know, the original myth, the legend, the factual basis of the story was you would have to look in the mirror and say her name 13 times.
I thought it was only 3.
Yeah, I thought it was like 4 or something like that. But there's also explanations on other things that we never knew as kids or even growing up.
Right. So you know, the things that you can read about Bloody Mary, it's a legend of a ghost, phantom, or spirit conjured to reveal the future. Now, see, even as a kid, I never heard that story. I just thought, you know, you go in the mirror in the dark and say her name 3 times, and bam, she pops up and scares the bejesus out of you, you know?
Yeah.
She's supposed to scratch your eyes out or take your soul.
Choke you, etc., like the whole shebang.
Right. It says she is said to appear in a mirror when her name is chanted repeatedly. The Bloody Mary apparition may be benign or malevolent, depending on historic variations of the legend. Uh, Bloody Mary appearances are mostly witnessed in group participation play or by a man who is about to die. So, God forbid any male don't go in the mirror and chant Bloody Mary because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Like, okay, so here's the thing.
Kind of scary.
Because I don't like mirrors, period. And, not just with the whole Bloody Mary thing, but I had an experience as a child, and my experience was I lived in Fresno, California. I'm originally from Los Angeles, but when I was 11 years old, I was living in Fresno, California at the time, and me and my sister, I won't say her name because she's not part of this video, and she didn't sign consent to be able to mention her. So, but either way, me and my sister, we were staying at a friend's house. Our friend and his sister, and they were Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh goodness.
Okay, so what happened was the mom went to church, and us, 4 kids, we stayed at the apartment while their mom went to church and stuff, and and it kind of ties into what they were saying, what I was reading to you earlier in the paperwork. All right, and I'm going to bring that up too. But we were in the apartment, and all 3 of them, they were in the bedroom, and I don't know, I just went in the living room, and on the inside of the door that leads you out of the front of the apartment, there's a window, or sorry, not a window, but a mirror behind the door. And I just started staring in the mirror. And it seemed like there was a face that did like this. And it scared the heck out of me. And I ran, I cried, I freaked out. And of course, old typical remedy, let's give him sugar water. He'll be okay. But I knew, yeah, you ever heard the remedy, just give him sugar water? Okay, so...
Maybe for gassy babies.
Okay, well, they're like, I wasn't gassy, okay? I think I seen an apparition in a mirror. So, yeah. So, either way, I know what I thought I saw. I'm not going to say I know what I saw. I know what I thought I saw.
Right.
And it scared the heck out of me. And I freaked out. And then ever since that day, I've never liked mirrors. And, and one of the things we read right before we started doing this live feed here on YouTube was, it says sometimes when you stare at something so long, whether it's a mirror or a door, you can start to see things. It's almost like a hypnosis, I believe is what it said.
Well, there's such as, like when you, a lot of people believe that if you go into a haunted building or a haunted home or wherever, any place that's said to be haunted or have spirits, that you can place a mirror. Basically what you want to do is put one mirror down and then put another mirror across from that exact mirror that you're looking in, set in the floor or in a chair, wherever.
What we did at Randolph County Asylum in Indiana?
Yes, it's called scrying.
Yeah, and by the way, if you ever want to check out the Randolph County Asylum in Indiana, a great place to visit and investigate, I promise you.
Absolutely. You will get
some things that happen.
Much evidence.
At least we did as a team. I don't want to tell you that you're going to get a lot. Maybe some people do get evidence, some people don't. So. Exactly. But we definitely did, though.
Yes, we did. It was nothing bad, nothing evil. And I've, being, with us doing what we do and being paranormal investigators, some of the places, the larger places that we have went, we've done research on them. We have also, basically gotten backstories. And if, there's ever been a team prior to us going into these places and investigating, we have tried to watch their videos to kind of prepare ourselves.
Yes.
Not to hype ourselves up really, but to kind of prepare ourselves and know the general locations that, they caught the most evidence, and things of that nature. And, there have been a couple of places that we have went to that we have done research on. We've watched videos about, such as Bobby Mackey's Music World in Wilder, Kentucky, Waverly Hills.
That was a pretty crazy place.
Yes, Randolph County Asylum. You know, a lot of the stories and videos that we have watched and read about these general locations, there are some people that have went to those locations that we have watched about, and some of the things that they have said about these locations were false. Some of the things might have been possibly hoaxed. I'm not exactly for certain, but I know the experiences we had as a team at these places, and it was nothing compared to the things that other people have experienced or have caught. And that's not to say that those places aren't haunted or there aren't spirits there, just because we didn't get as much evidence as others.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, there was that one investigation that we did out in Wilder, Kentucky, and it's been televised on TV. Some of the top investigators are well known across the world on these television shows. They were telling big stories about, and this is not knocking down what they did and the evidence that they said they caught, because we're not there and we can't say whether it's true or not. So I try not to tear down another investigator.
Exactly.
But the evidence that they caught, we didn't really catch nothing compared to what they had caught. And that's not saying that their stuff was fake. It's just sometimes spirits choose who they correspond with.
Exactly.
Maybe they didn't like us. They didn't want to correspond with us. Maybe they didn't have enough energy that night. You never know. There's a grip of factors that are in play and involved with all this stuff. But I know one of our team members, me and her, was downstairs and across from the room where we were actually inside, and she was filming me. Right outside that door is actually the Bronco that John Travolta rode in Urban Cowboy. So that was pretty awesome. I got to touch the actual... I'm getting the chills. So I actually got to touch the thing that John Travolta, rode on. We all did. We all looked at it. It was non-operated. It was an operating, but it was cool just to see the actual thing that John Travolta hopped on in the movie. But when we were in that room, I remember asking at one point, because it wasn't responding, so we actually got a view. Thank you, whoever's watching. We really appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe to help us out here. If there's anything that you want to talk about that we didn't touch basis on tonight or at this moment or prior to you watching, please help us out and let us know something you might want to talk about. It doesn't even have to be paranormal or any kind of myths or legends. It could be anything. So we're more than willing to do, talk about other things. But in that room, I remember at one point, Kristen was in there with me, and I had actually, I was getting responses on the SB7 Spirit Box, but then all of a sudden it stopped. But I remember something told me to ask this question. I'm sensitive, and sometimes things tell me to do something or say something, and lately I've been acting on it for the most part, depending on what it is. because if it's really bad, I'm not gonna relay it to you unless I know for a fact that I need to. Um, but something told me to ask, why are you not responding? Is this radio too loud? And I believe I got a response that said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I turned it down. And, oh my! I'm getting chills again. No joke, guys. So I turned it down, and it was going crazy, and we were starting getting more and more responses. There's been multiple times when we were in Jamestown where our team members now live in this house that we investigated prior to them moving there. It was the owner's wishes before she had passed on that they would purchase the house. And fortunately for our team, for her wishes came true. And, we were actually in the back house, which is separate from the house. I don't know. Even in the vault room, you could see my head. I'm just right here. And then I turn in my head and I ask a question and we get a solid response. It's just a weird feeling, guys, and
Well,
it's just really it's just really weird.
Something that I've been told, with this whole paranormal investigating thing, I've been told by many Christians, which I am a Christian, okay, but I have been told by many Christians, when we're trying to communicate with spirits, don't use your real name. And, me personally, I want them to know who they're speaking with.
Because I want to know who I'm speaking with.
Right, and...
Not saying that that's going to be who it is that we're speaking with, but...
But, like we use the SB7 spirit box. And we try to communicate with spirits using radio frequencies, okay? And I know it might sound cliche to some people, but, when you are playing white noise radio frequency backwards and you are getting legitimate responses
that make sense
in proper English, whether it be one word or 2 or 3 words in a sentence, and the thing is like, one thing that has absolutely baffled me, since we have been doing these spirit box sessions is, when we have, especially when we investigated in Jamestown.
Yeah.
Whatever was there, kept calling me by name repetitively. And I am not exactly for certain who or what it was that was trying to communicate with me. But there was multiple occasions that whatever was there trying to communicate, was trying to communicate with me personally quite a few different times. In a sense, it's kind of scary a little bit. That something unknown has been trying to communicate with me, especially after what happened to me at that house that night.
Yeah.
Our initial first time there.
That first time was pretty wild. It was pretty wild.
Yes.
I mean, we got responses no matter how many times we went. We always left with something feeling a little bit different. Not saying negativity, not in a negative perspective, but getting answers. That's what we go there for.
Right.
I mean,
even down to, since our team has moved in that home, we went to hang out for a weekend and just, not even really do anything paranormal, and we just decided to go in the back room and turn on the spirit box and a REM pod and start asking questions.
Does that mean Victor?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
and
oh man,
you
that
know,
was
and we
crazy.
automatically started getting responses. Our REM pod was going off like crazy on command.
It wasn't just REM pod, but the REM pod and the two K2 meters all went off at the exact time. And what are the eventually? But what are the what is
The
the
odds.
odds of all of them going off at the same time? We've never had that happen in the 3 years or so that we've been
Yeah, we've
investigating.
we've never had two of the exact same pieces of equipment side by side and then both go off at the exact same time, the exact same way.
Yes, and eventually, as we start doing more and more videos on our channel here, um, I'm gonna start learning how to add actual videos to our live videos, our future uploads. That way, we can add some of these videos in with our stuff. That way, you can experience along with us what we've experienced when we went out to these specific investigations, these certain investigations. Um, what is your top experience? Like, we've done quite a few investigations. It has been slow lately because we all work, long hours for the most part. What is your favorite investigation? The one that you walked away from, you'll never forget that you felt different.
Um, as much as I absolutely was infatuated with Waverly Hills,
That place is awesome, guys. If you ever get a chance, and not a lot of people get an opportunity to do, and I don't mean to cut you off, but not a lot of people get to do the investigation that we got to do that night. Luckily for the leaders of our team, they make buku bucks, and they were able to pay $1,000 for the 8-hour tour, so that 12 of us could go. Actually, it was 10 of us that went, and then two people paid $100 each, which was your brother and Joe. But Joe, good friend of mine, um, he says he's been wanting to do this his whole life. Your brother too, especially Joe for me because he's like, dude, we're both in recovery. I've been sober going on 10 years. She's going on sober what 5 years,
um,
6 years,
going on six.
6 years. So Joe is in recovery too, and he says out of all these experiences he's had, he didn't really know for certain if he was really experiencing this stuff or it was just the delusions behind his addiction. And he's always wanted to go to Waverly Hills, and I'm like, we could take you, but it's going to cost $100 because we already got our 10 occupants that are going to go. It's already paid for. But if he would like to go, he'd pay an extra, the $100 to go. And he said he would let me know and he would keep me updated because he had to work. But then he messaged me back that says, you know what? I've been waiting to do this my whole life, but I've always been stuck in addiction and whatnot. So I didn't tell you all this stuff that he told me, but he said I've been stuck in addiction so long that I've never really had the opportunity to go because I've always been stuck in addiction doing other things. And now that I'm sober, like I might not ever get this opportunity again. I'm gonna go. So he paid the $100, and of course your brother went, and it was a crazy experience.
That was legitimately my brother's
yeah.
very first ever investigation
It
with our
was,
team.
and not only was it cool to go and do the investigation, but all of us there were like family.
Absolutely.
We were like family. We're all family. Maybe not blood related, but there's people who joined our team recently within the last year or so, and they're like family. And actually, two of our investigators are from a prior investigation, and they joined the team. And they're really nice people. They're really great people. I mean, everybody on our team is. Sometimes we get aggravated with each other because there's a skeptic on our team, and she drives me crazy. And it almost her and my buddy Victor, man, we've known each other for quite a few years. We're both from California, and he was a district manager, whatnot. I don't think it was a district manager, but he was a higher up within the company that we worked for, and so we've known each other for a long time. And and he knows me. I mean well, and I know he means well. And him and Angelo over here, they laugh because me and her almost go at it like it's crazy. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk away. And then sometimes she slips up and says, "Yeah, that happened. I can't believe it happened." Oh, so you're saying it happened? So you believe? You're a believer now? She's like, "Nope. It's just probably something else that happened." And I'll leave it at that now because it's a no-win situation. I don't even care anymore because I know how I feel. Everybody individually knows how they feel, and we have our own perception on what happened during our investigations.
But
And I'm going to tell you all what my favorite investigation was. Well, not favorite, but the most touched that I've ever felt.
I have to say, no matter what, it was our Jamestown investigation. I have experienced a lot of things in my life, but the feeling and the experience that I had that night was absolutely out of this world. I can't really describe it. It was. I'll just put. I'll just put it this way. Don't ever ask a spirit or something that is not there to touch you.
Yeah, don't ever give them the right because, and I don't mean to cut you off again, but you got to understand, guys, is that when you do these investigations, if you're having any kind of activity, and even if you're not, you got to be aware at all times of your surroundings and what might possibly be there. It could be good, it could be bad, and even if you're a skeptic, always be careful and protect yourself.
Absolutely.
Because at any time, anything can happen, and our number one thing is safety.
Well,
yeah,
you could ask Rodney here. He's always the one that normally does the provoking and you can come touch me, make your presence known. I'm not usually that person. We happen to be using a new form of communication that our group, our buddy, created, known as a spirit portal box.
Yes, it's a great piece of equipment as well.
It is. I do not, however, recommend that you use a giant speaker. And I've really done some research on that as well because it's the magnetic field.
It's a magnetic on the back of the speakers and stuff?
Or? Okay. So it's the magnetic field of the speaker that amplifies. Okay.
So the more energy, the louder it is, the more energy it radiates, or?
Yes. And
makes sense. I mean, that's what they feed off is energy.
Right. So. And whatever was in that home, it sucked me in, let me tell you. From the very beginning. It sucked me into almost like a whirlwind in this box. These lights and it was like the electromagnetic field like sucked me in.
I mean, you were immediately drawn to that thing as soon as we put it in there and plugged in the SB7 spirit box. It was like you were stuck on that thing.
Right, and I've never been that like honed in on anything,
including me.
But on our investigations.
Yeah.
And that's what it kind of baffled me because it drew me in, it like sucked me in, and I just like before I knew it, I asked, or pretty much gave whatever was there permission to physically touch me, you know, and without even knowing.
Yeah, just
So it's like it knew whatever was there knew what it was doing. Um, and
well, even not to cut you off again, but even Victor said that whenever that happened, like whatever was there had everybody going a different direction. Like I went that way, you were stuck there. Megan went that way, Victor went that way. It's like we were all going in different directions, and then we, not saying that we caught wind of what was going on, but we noticed and we all, formed back together. But it was a crazy experience when it was trying. It felt like he was saying was it was drawing us into different locations individually for whatever reason.
away from me.
Yeah.
But that with that being said, like that was a very interesting experience, um, because not only did I notice a change in myself,
We all did.
everybody around me noticed a drastic change in my mood, in my attitude. And everybody was like, you need to get out of here. You need to go outside. You need to breathe in some fresh air. Um, and I did. It still didn't help. Um, it is what it is. Um, I I can't change what happened. Um, it made me realize how um, how much more careful we need to be, because without even knowing, we can be attacked, and not just not per se physically,
Mentally, spiritually,
because that is what happened to
emotionally.
me. I was emotionally and psychologically attacked.
Yep. And people, they go in there and do these things, and some people go in there just playing around and joking and not really understanding what you could be messing with, what you can come into contact with, and next thing you know, some bad stuff starts happening. Unfortunately, but it happens. People play with Ouija boards and things like that, and it's
We do have one.
yes, we do. We do have a Ouija board, which we haven't played with yet. We might tomorrow night, but
Why not tonight?
I know we might be able to do it. But either way, but people gotta be, you gotta understand that this is not a game. This is real life. This is reality. Anything can happen at any given moment, and and just be careful when you start to do these things. I know you said Jamestown was your biggest experience for you. Mine is going to be Crab Orchard. Unless something tops that, that's always gonna be my number one. That I was affected in a negative way. And the weird thing is on any investigation that we go to, before we even set anything up, before we do anything, any kind of investigating, etc., we always go through with the K2 meter, DMF detector. We check for radiation,
carbon monoxide.
Yep. We check for all that stuff. And see, the weird thing about that thing is when we went through that house, me and Victor initially went in there by ourselves, and then you guys went and did your thing, and then we all came together as a group, and then we started doing our investigating and stuff. When me and Victor initially went through that house, as well as you guys, none of us got any kind of readings on the EMF detector, the carbon monoxide, any of that stuff, the K2 meters, anything, EMF detector, nothing. We didn't get no readings whatsoever. None.
No.
We didn't get nothing. So, what is weird is eventually, sometime that night, me and Victor ended up going up back into the attic upstairs, and we caught a stick figure on the SLS camera. And I was excited because we didn't get nothing all night. no EMF detectors. Like I said, none of that stuff was going off. Couldn't even get a stick figure on the SLS, nothing. And then out of nowhere, we finally caught a stick figure. And I told Victor, I said, look, we finally got a stick figure. And I was excited. So Victor held the SLS camera and the handheld camcorder. And I went over there. And what happened was, I'm like, hey, Victor, it's over here. And I stuck my hand on it. I said, can you please touch my hand? And it felt like something touched my smaller finger. Whether I was just imagining things or not, I can't tell you for certain. But I know that thing reached out and looked like it touched my hand. Okay? So Victor was saying, because eventually after all that stuff happened, like I said, the EMF detector, the K2 meter, none of that stuff was going off.
No.
After that thing touched me, anytime I touched the K2 meter, it was going off. It was going up to 2, 3, 4, 500 readings on this thing. And I would take my hand off it, it would stop. Well, Victor noticed that I was kind of close to the wire that was connected to one of our night vision cameras. He said, oh, it was probably because you're touching that. So I climbed underneath the wire. I made sure I had a good distance from it to where I wasn't touching it. None of that stuff. Touched the K2 meter, and it was still going crazy. And I was like, this is crazy. We haven't had this go off all night. So Victor says, hey, let's try to debunk this. What I want you to do is I want you to come over and hold the SLS camera and the camcorder, and I'm going to go over there and replicate what you're doing now and see if I can get it to go off. He couldn't get it to go off. He could not get it to go off. I don't care what he did. He could not get that thing to go off. It was only when I touched it. So I felt like whatever it was that reached out to touch me generated some energy onto me, and it caused me to make that thing go off whenever I touched it, like it was inside of me.
Right.
That's what I kind of felt like, and I never thought about that before until now. Like, it jumped in my body, and that energy was there, and I'm getting the chills. But that's why I feel like what happened. Well, we ended up leaving, the attic area, and like I said, we didn't catch nothing throughout that house until we went upstairs again. So I said, okay, whatever's here with us, we are leaving the attic, and we are going back downstairs. If you would like to join me and Victor, you can meet us in the living room. And lo and behold, as soon as we get down there, there's a stick figure in the living room. And we didn't have nothing like that happen all night. Until we went to the attic, and then I said it could come down with us in the living room, and then we get a stick figure down in the living room.
Right.
What's a coincidence? We didn't have nothing like that pop up on any of our cameras, anything, until after we went upstairs, me and Victor. But after that investigation, I was not the same person for like a week or two. I was a different person for about a month or so. I was not the same. I was angry. I was questioning God. I was saying things I shouldn't have said. Emotional, angry, did not want to talk to nobody. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So whatever was in me, it affected me quite a bit. So when people tell me, and I don't argue with people and try to get them to believe in something they don't. But when I know what happened to me that night, and she knows what happened to her that night in Jamestown, Kentucky, it's clear evidence to us. Maybe not all our viewers, maybe not to the people who follow us, maybe not to the skeptics, but from a personal standpoint, a personal experience, we know what happened to us. And it was real. And I questioned myself whether that stuff could happen or not, because I never had that experience. But after that experience out of Crab Orchard, Kentucky, and with her in Jamestown, Kentucky, we know for a fact, personal experience, our team even knew something's not right.
Well,
And we're going to go a little bit longer, and then we're going to end up ending this video.
Yeah.
In about 6 minutes.
With the, with the night in Jamestown, with me, not only did I have that experience, but I was also trying to channel the energy and thoughts from, a cold case that we were discussing that was possibly linked to the property that we were at. And I had started getting thoughts in my head. So I was like, I'm going to write these thoughts down. You know, as well as the vault room in this house, my initial entrance to that room, I had a mental picture, a mental image just flash. And that same exact mental picture that flashed in my head, you know, when I came out of the back of the house, Patricia, the owner of the house, who, you know, has now passed away, God rest her soul, she had gotten up from her computer and walked into where we had our little base camp set up to come talk to us and check on us, because she said that she was sitting at her computer and she started having visions of some crazy stuff. And I asked her, you know, me and her had not spoken since before we had started the investigation.
Yeah.
And she asked me, or she was telling me and Megan about her vision. And, you know, and I asked her to be specific on what she saw in her vision. And she told me word for word, she described exactly what the mental picture was that flashed in my brain when I walked into that room. Now, how did that happen when we hadn't spoken?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And like, I was so baffled when she said that. Me and Megan looked at each other because me and Megan were discussing what I seen when we walked into the vault room. And when Patricia said what she said about what she seen in her vision, and that was why she got up to come check on us.
Yeah.
Like, I had to leave the room. Because how did she have the same vision that I had a complete and total mental image of?
Yeah.
So, you know, it was strange. We really didn't talk too much about Bloody Mary.
No, we didn't, but we will do more on that. We kind of got sidetracked on talking about these investigations and some of our experiences, but we will touch more up on Bloody Mary next week, next Saturday night. We're going to try to do one every Saturday night, but we're going to touch up more on Bloody Mary and also our next story. We don't know exactly which one we're going to go and do next Saturday, but we're going to talk as soon as we get done with this live video. But we are going to do our best and see what's going on and see what we're going to come up with. But eventually we're going to get our stuff together, talk to this woman here, and try to come up with something good. We're definitely trying to get more likes, subscribers, and viewers and stuff. You know, we like to do this, and we'd like to get a bunch of people watching. But I think it's, you know, we got some great stuff in store in the future. So just continue to watch. If you come across this video, like, share, and subscribe. Share it with your friends. I know there's only a couple videos on right now, but eventually we're going to have a lot up here, and there's going to be a lot more stuff to watch. Maybe we won't go live every time, but we will definitely upload some stuff. Also, like I said, I'm going to actually try to, with her help, try to figure out how to add actual live videos. That way we can go over certain stories and maybe pull up some stuff on YouTube, whatnot, on our phone, on our laptop, and try to add it to our live videos. That way we can watch some stuff together and give our views on it. Things like that. So stay tuned, guys. You guys have a great night. Stay spooky, and don't look in the mirror. Good night, guys.